To the Olympic Hockey Show brought to you by Purple Rain Podcast. It's finally time for Canada. It's finally time for the Canadians, which means I need to do a quick costume change. And plus, thank you so much for reminding me beforehand, because as you guys remember, I said for Canada's roster, I was going to be wearing my Four Nations jersey from last year, because if you guys listen to what ended up being the final season of the Triple Podcast, you remember that the Four Nations disrupted our season, and I did say that I was going to buy Connor McDavid's Team Canada jersey because I was backing Team Canada for that tournament. Okay, so I just need to make a quick costume change. So 2 seconds. Okay. Can I just say to the boys and girls at home, you didn't get our order until after the tournament. No, because the merchandise for Four Nations was shit. The way the NHL and Fnac organised the merchandising for Four Nations was shit. I was very lucky I could get a scarf. That was all I was able to get in time for the tournament. But yeah, so I had to wait till pretty much September before I could get this ordered. So here we go. So this is probably the first time I'm wearing this. But it is the first time because the label's still on! Yeah, it came about September 2025 and I haven't worn it, had the opportunity to wear it since because, you know, I keep thinking, oh, do I want to do Four Nations stuff? Because I did say I was going to do Four Nations content, but, you know, because I didn't have the jersey running time, it's like, it's a bother. Yeah, so here we go. Oh, this now feels weird. So guys, this is my Four Nations jersey, because as you guys remember, last year I backed Team Canada in Four Nations. Basically, no, the only reason you backed them is because you thought Connor McDavid looked sexy in that jersey. I'm a man, I have needs, deal with it. Heated rivalry tonight! Oi! Get the towels. 9 o'clock, Sky Atlantic, double bill, first 2 episodes. If you are in the UK, Sky Atlantic, tonight, 9 PM, and then episode 2 straight after at 10 PM, so it's a double bill. It's a double bill. Yes, I did think thought he looked hot in it, so I was like, right, well, I'm gonna nab it. I was like, I'm gonna go, oh, Canada. Yeah, and as you guys should know by now, I am gonna be Team Canada for the men's tournament. Not just because of McDavid, but also because Macklin Celebrini from my San Jose Sharks is on that team. I'm also going to be backing Team Sweden in the men's tournament because Alex Wennberg has also been named to that roster. So basically, any roster that's got a shark on the men's side, I'm going to back that team. But many I'll be backing the men's side. So yeah, so for the men's tournament, I'm backing Canada. And for the ladies, of course, I'm backing TSA. But of course, we do wish Czechia all the best, because obviously they've got 2 Frost players on that roster, which we have already covered in various bonus episodes. So this was a bit weird, I'm wearing this, but it's sort of not weird, because I am backing Canada in the men's, just not the women's side. But I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of my word. I said we were going to do Canada's roster in this jersey. So, there you go. There you go. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. So Canada's roster came out while we were watching The Traitors. It was a messy episode last night. Fiona! All you future wannabe traitors like me out there, Fiona is how not to play the game as a traitor. That's how not to play the game as a traitor, okay? That's how you do not play the game, okay? That's how you... Anyway, yeah. So Canada's roster came out while we were watching the Tracers. So I only had like a glance look at it because obviously, I'm trying to focus on the mess that was going on. So a quick glance, and obviously was the Tracers finished, or was Fiona had disgraced herself? Do you think they're going to take the deal? No. 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 Or, what I think could happen is, they say yes, but then murder him. Next murder. Yeah, and do that's what could happen. Anyway, we're not here to talk Tracers. You know, I'd love to, because it's one of the best shows on British telly. Not only that, we are here to talk about Canada's roster, and, well, seeing we brought up Traitors, there's actually been quite a few skullduggeries on this lineup, because there are a lot of notable absences, like Mika Sandy Hart, Hannah Miller, who they spent the last 2 years trying to get her on Team Canada, only to then be put to the wayside. It's just... So any number of notables that you think that have been snubbed? May Batterson, yep. Kendall Cooper, Abby Hustler, yeah. I think both of them have done enough to earn a place on Canada's roster, and yes, they literally were just drafted this season. But Team USA's got Haley Wynn and Rory Gearday on our team, and yet they are still only first-year players. So yeah, so it's a bit of a shock there. I'm trying to think who else do I think was a notable snub. Oh, Sadakny! That's a Danielle Sadakny was a huge snub for me. I'm not thinking, really? You're gonna keep her off the list? Yeah. There's quite a few non-PHL players that also got rawly snubbed for it. But I can't remember who they are. Yeah. No, it's an interesting... yeah. I think Canada has caused a lot of shockwaves, a lot of ripples in this roster bill. Now, that largely could be due to the fact, obviously, you know, in this season's Rugby series, Canada were crap. Is that fair, lady? Yeah. I was going to say shit, but, crap can do. Crap's fine. Crap will work. Yeah, they're crap. They just weren't able to match the firepower that the USA were bringing. And it was odd because you had, for the second leg, you had Desbian and Mashmeyer in the net. And yet, they conceded a combined 14 goals in those 2 games in Edmonton. It was embarrassing to watch. And I still think that sends really mixed signals going into Milan. I agree. I agree. It does. But we have to see what happens when we get to Milan. Yeah. Yeah. So you would have thought maybe Rugby Series should be the point where, okay, what we're doing right now is not working. Let's change it up. But it hasn't really been the case. And what was really interesting, because obviously when we looked at this roster, we had a great big conversation about this, and we kind of felt like, have Canada been so rattled that they felt the whole roster needs to be fixed? Because all 23 players are from the PWHL. Now, that should be a good thing. That should be a good... we waited a quarter of a century to get a pro league for women in hockey. 1998 was when the program was first introduced to the Olympics in Japan, in Nagano, and then 2023 is when the PHL was created. So we waited a quarter of a century for a pro women's league to be established. So you expect a lot of the players in the next couple of years Olympics will come to the PHL, but I wasn't expecting an entire roster. It is like, we just can't win it. It's like, on the one hand, you know, we've been begging for a women's pro league for years, and then it comes along, and now we're saying, actually, no, maybe you shouldn't just rely heavily on the PHL. It's just, we can't win. We can't. And I think at one point, I just thought, hang on, no, this is what we've wanted, right? It's what we've been waiting for a really long time. You know, why are we now saying, well, that's now wrong? It's just like, can we not just have our moment in the sun for like 1 second? Yeah. And I think I really am shocked because there are prospects outside of PWHL, like the NCAA, for example, like the college levels, the universities. Yeah, you could have pulled prospects from. And what I think is really been interesting with all the other rosters we've gone through, this is our 8th roster episode. We've got 2 more after this. It's the 2, and unsurprisingly, it's the 2 nations that bid for these games in 2019. This is our 8th roster show. Right, this is our 8th roster show. So far, with the first 7 we've done, they've had a good variety of mix in terms of veterans and also young, up-and-coming prospects who could now find themselves on a PHL roster one day. If not this coming draft, it could be the next draft or the draft after that. And that's how you go look into the Olympics now, that you could see these prospects actually now enter our league maybe 2 or 3 years down the track, which actually is really exciting. Yeah, it makes the draft sound really, really exciting. Yeah, this year's draft's going to be so exciting because there's going to be so much talent that's going to be on offer. So I kind of would like to see maybe at least 2 more teams enter the mix because I feel like with this draft class, because the way it's been bigged up, I feel like we need to get as many teams as possible in the league. So I know you say go for 4, you say rip the band-aid off, but we'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, this is going to be a really impressive draft class, and it kind of makes us excited for that draft. I mean, obviously we don't want the regular season to end anytime soon, but what I think is nice for this season is when the regular season does end and the World Cup gets handed out, whether that's for us again or it's somebody new, you know that in say like in a few weeks' time, we'll then meet up in wherever and we're going to have an exciting draft because the talent that's going to enter the league is just going to be so incredible. So I really do hope, and I know that he's been teasing, we probably are going to expand again next year. I really hope we do get expansion next year because I want to see as many players from this draft pool, this draft class as possible, enter the league. And we don't even know who's on it yet. So that's how talented this draft pool is. Yeah. But I do really, that's what's exciting now, is that some of the prospects you see play on the international stage could actually now one day enter the league, and that is what makes this really, really exciting. So on the one hand, yeah, we should be happy that one nation has gone for an entire roster of PHL players. But at the same time, it's like, well, you can't need to rely on your young prospects, because a lot of these players, I'll let you do it. Yeah, a lot of the players on Canada's roster are old. I mean, we were surprised how old Jocelyn the Rock is. Okay, I did Pyeong. We'll do the roster, and then you can go straight away with The Rock on Pyeongchang. Thank you, George. Yeah. I was surprised how, because who's the youngest? Kelly Osborne's the youngest at 23. I thought Serafina was younger than that, but clearly not. Clearly not. Yeah. Yeah, you've got a lot of mid-20s, late 30s. You've got the experience, but I'm just thinking, when you're going to go up against a roster like Team USA that's got this young depth there, you're going to struggle. Yeah. Right, let's get to it. Let's now go through the roster and then we'll have some more thoughts afterwards. Okay, so here we go. As always, we will start... What does that do? We will start in the forward positions. So here we go. And I'm glad, Pluto, you mentioned the age issue now, so I don't have to have you screenshot it when I go through these names that you've done on some of the other rosters. Okay, here we go. So, here's the roster for PWHL Canada! You couldn't resist that, could you? No! It's been a long week! It's been a long and difficult week! It's been a trying week, boys and girls, in an international hockey. Well, do the shakes on my behalf, dear. Do the shake on my behalf. I'm gonna... She's gonna wear herself. Oh my god. Do this. Go on. Right. Ready? Well played. Well played. Well played. Well played. Oh my god, you reminded me of when Holly Willoughby had to kneel down at least stop herself rescue herself because Philip Scobell just made her laugh. Oh yeah. Happy days. Happy days. This morning has been shit since those two left. Yeah, don't worry, presenting Strictly. Oh, please no. Oh, she's back. There we go. That broke her arm a bit. She's back. Right. So here is the roster for PWHL Canada at Milan Cortina. So we have the 4 positions. Here we go. Emily Clark, 30. Our charge. Sarah Ferrier, 25. New York Sirens. Jennifer Gardner, 24. Vancouver Golden Eyes. Julia Gosling, 24. Seattle Torrent. Brianne Jenner, 34. Our charge. Emma Molte, 26. Toronto Scepters. Sarah Nurse. Oh, we're going to come on to her. We're going to come on to her. Yep, Sarah Nurse, 31. Vancouver Golden Eyes. We're going to come back to her in a moment. Kristen O'Neill, 27. New York Sirens. Captain Clutch. Marie-Philippe Poulain, 34. Victoire de Montreal. Natalie Spooner, 35. Toronto Scepters. Laura Stacey, 31. Victoire de Montreal. Blair Turnbull, 32. Toronto Scepters. Darryl Watts, 26. Toronto Scepters. In the defenders, Ed Ambrose, 31. Victoire de Montreal. Renata Fast, 31. Toronto Scepters. Sophie Jakes, 25. Vancouver Golden Eyes. Jocelyn LaRoque, 37. Our charge. Shelton, 27. Toronto Scepters. Katie Turbin, 28. Victoire de Montreal. Claire Thompson, 27. Vancouver Golden Eyes. And the goaltenders, no surprises who these are. Amélie Desbiens, 31. Victoire de Montreal. Eris Mashmeyer, 31. Vancouver Golden Eyes. Kelly Osborne, 23. York Sirens. And their head coach is Troy Ryan of the Toronto Scepters. Right. Do you want to do the Rock first or Nurse first? Do Nurse. Right. Okay. So as we all know, Sarah Nurse has been out with injury ever since the Golden Eyes home opener at the start of the season, and she hasn't played since. Now, I don't think that is why Vancouver is doing so poorly. I mean, I know I said that was the reason why the Scepters were doing badly last year, because obviously Natalie Spooner was still recovering from an injury, and let's face it, before she came back, the Scepters weren't really a team gelling. Despite the fact that going into last season, they were the defending league champions. Yep. But you're right, though. Once Natalie Spooner came back, the Scepters really improved and somehow got into the protection slot in the playoffs. Yep. They got into second place. Yep. Yeah. So I don't think that's the reason why Vancouver is struggling. Now, I think they probably still would be where they are. Edith Sarah hadn't sustained this, what really feels like a season-ending injury. Yeah. She hasn't played since. Yeah. And the Golden Eyes have played, was it now 10 games, 11 games now, how we call this? I think it's 10. I think it's just 10. I think it's 10. Yeah. I think it's the 10 game model test has been banging about. Oh, so yeah. So, now, what really surprised me about Sarah Nurse getting picked, and again we bring it back to Canada, on the men's side, I think a lot of people were expecting both Colbert and Macklin Celebrini to get named. Yeah, it kind of feel like you can't have one without the other. But Colbert has suffered an injury. He's been out of the lineup for quite a while now, and I think a lot of people are saying that's the reason the Blackhawks have now fallen off the cliff. But I don't think the Blackhawks were ever really a serious contender for playoffs. Now, you on the other hand, don't you dare! Don't you dare! Oh my god. What are you going to do in April if the Sharks qualify for the playoffs? What are you going to do? I'm going to have a massive heart attack. Because we're not ready. No, we are not ready. We basically are the Montreal Canadiens of last season. Because last season, Montreal, nobody expected them to be ready to contend the playoffs, and yet they somehow got into the playoffs, and they're doing really well this season. So I just feel that we are that Montreal Canadiens team of last year. We are exceeding expectations. The rebuild is going to finish earlier than planned, and I just don't think we're ready. For me, I want my Sharks to win a Stanley Cup, and right now, I don't think we're ready for that. So, if we do continue the way we're going, I'm going to have an almighty heart attack. You thought Calgary Flames had it bad this time last year? You just watch what's happening right now with Macklin Celebrini in Teal Town. Yeah. So Connor Bedard was left off the roster. And I was one of the few people who was like, yes! Not because I hated Scots, but because I felt there's no point giving somebody a spot if they're not going to be ready to go for the tournament. So, I'm a bit surprised that the women's side thought, right, we know Sarah is out with an injury. She hasn't been back since. But they're still going to give us a thought. I mean, the Golden Eyes still aren't confident when she can return. No, they're not. No. They keep saying, oh, it's week to week, but how many times we've had coaches say that, and they actually turn to be lots worse than it is. Yeah. So, it just, I honestly, right, I would love Sarah Nurse to recover in time for Milan, but that's now, 3 weeks away? And we still don't really know the seriousness of this injury. She's been out since that first game of the Golden Eyes. That was their home opener and their inaugural game. She's been out since. We don't really probably know what it is and what's holding her back. So, I'd love to see her on the roster, but I would not be surprised if Gia Klingberg has got to replace her because she's not ready in time. We really do hope she has Cam on the roster. She deserves to be on the roster. She's earned it, but we'll see. So can I do Justin the Rock? Yes. Okay, so Justin the Rock has been quite the controversial Olympian. Over the years. He's known for taking penalties. He's known for aggression. But the thing that we all remember, it still lives in the back of the mind 8 years on. The thing we remember the most is, of course, what happened in Pyeongchang at the medal ceremony. When she got her medal, she took it off. And I remember watching this. I was like, oh my god! Oh! I was like, oh! We all did. You two, me, Hatter, Goof, Sarisa, we all were like, what did she just do that? I was like, oh my god! Because I need a break. I need a second. I need water. Because I remember. But I was like, oh my god. I was like, did she just do that? Did she just do? No, she did. Oh my god, she did! Oh my god, she did. Now, and this wasn't like an off-camera. It was literally as soon as she got a medal. Yeah, it was literally, right? She gets her medal, so they go, Jocelyn LaRock! She gets the medal put onto her by this middle-aged man in a tuxedo. Was that too far? Might have been too far. She gets to hand it over to her, gets her mascot, which they always do. Now, as soon as he goes to the next player, immediately the camera saw her and she just takes it off. And we're like, oh, God, no! Lady, did she just do that? Lady? Lady! She just did that, George. I was like, oh. I remember that moment. She go, oh my god, what the crowd is swallowing up. Open up, I command thee! It's like, oh, I need to go home now. Oh wait, no, wait a minute, I'm at home. Actually, no, I think I might need to go down to the Weatherspoons and get a massive drink. Do you want after that? It's like, oh! So it's like, oh! Now, that gold medal match at Pyeongchang has got to be one of my favourites. Yeah. Because it was just so high octane, and it was just like a proper match. This was like a proper... These two teams the rhyme on full display. This was a really great advertisement for our sport. And then she goes and does that. Yeah, so... Can you imagine what happens? Oh, no, don't speak it to assistance, George. Don't speak it to assistance. I think we already have. Because before we came to record this show, we'd be surprised if we asked us, do we think Canada could go for bronze? And we all said yes. Well, the thing is, right, okay. As you guys know, this is going to be my 5th games involved with the women's program, right? I've been involved with the women's program since 2010, okay? This, I think, is the first time I'm going into an Olympic tournament feeling that one of the two powerhouses could be rattled and could be threatened. Because Canada, it's not just the Ices. You have to go back to last year's World Championships in Prague. Because while Canada did very good against all the other teams, they lost both the group match and the gold medal match to the Americans. So that's technically 6 meetings in a row where the USA has won Canada. Now, that's something you wouldn't think of in the 2010s, because in the 2010s, Canada was sort of ruling the roost. Yeah, they won 2010, 2014, and they were dominating the World Championships as well. So you're right, George. If this was the last decade, you wouldn't think this was possible, because Canada still had that stranglehold. And Pyeongchang was supposed to be that moment we thought, right, it's the change of the guard, it's now the Americans' turn. And yet, in 2022, it didn't really happen. No, it just didn't. No, it did not. It was like, no, it was always like we went backwards instead of forward, and that obviously prompted the program to then make the change they made to now put this team pretty much back on the pedestal where it should have been after Pyeongchang, because we won gold at the World in 2023. And then in 2025, and we're now starting to get more dominant over the Canadians, which I would not have thought that at all. So, and I think this is why we've been saying to you guys, you need to keep an eye on the rosters. Yeah, this is why we've been saying to you guys, watch out for Czechia, watch out for Finland, watch out for Sweden, because those are going to be the teams that could potentially, in the 2030s, they could be the teams that actually throttle the US and Canada for that gold. Yeah. They could be the ones up there. We could be still. We've got how many wins have we got in the 2030s? 3. 2030 the French Alps, the next one. 2034 in Salt Lake City, and then 2038. Yeah. Well, that's not confirmed. I think 2038 might go to Switzerland. I think it might go to Switzerland, because I've been hearing that Switzerland is in a privileged dialogue with the IOC. Not heard this before. That means that they're not taking interest from any other bidders. Yeah. So, it could be within the next year or two. We might hear who's going to get 2038, but I would be very surprised if it's not Switzerland. So I think it's going to be Switzerland. Yeah. That's not confirmed. Yeah. But I have heard stories that they are in a very privileged dialogue with the IOC to get 2038. Well, Switzerland would be lovely. Yeah, it'd be a good chance for you to be put in your place. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so yeah, this is the first time that I feel that Canada is under threat. I really do. I generally do feel like Canada is under threat here, guys. Yeah, so that's good. And you know what? That makes it a really exciting tournament, because I feel like going into this tournament, Canada are massive underdogs. And that's probably the first time in my involvement, so it's dating back to 16 years ago now, guys. That's the first time in my involvement that it feels like that. And that makes it really exciting. Well, remind us, George, you know a bit about, 4 years old when Salt Lake City were around? Yeah. No, 5. Oh, sorry. No, you are not a couple years old. Me, please do. I feel old already as it is. I am turning 50 this year, guys. My mental age is 50 this year. Yeah, get the violins out. I've realised now I'm entering my twilight years and I've never really lived. No, I would have been 5 at the time of Salt Lake City. Okay. I wasn't even 4 when Sydney hosted the 2000 games in the Summer Olympics. No. Right, so you would have been 5. Yeah. Did you start primary school? No. I started primary school 2002-03. Yeah. I graduated primary school in 2009. So my first year of being involved with Eddie Ford hockey. Okay, so 2000, yeah, so, yeah, no, I started primary school in the academic year of 2002-2003 and graduated in the academic year of 2008-2009. Okay, yeah. Sorry, because I've only been with you since high school. Yeah. So yeah. And I've only been with you since year 6. See it. Yeah, so you would have been 5 when Salt Lake City hosted the game 2002. So you wouldn't have remembered about the fact that for going into those games, Canada was seen as an underdog. And yet, somehow, they managed to turn it around, pulled it off the unthinkable, and upset the Americans on home soil. Yeah. Well, I think when you go to a home game, especially for a team like the USA, you would think the goal would be in the back. Yeah. So, but yeah, Canada comes around. And what's actually interesting is, when it comes to women's hockey, only once has the host nation won the games, and that, of course, was in 2010, when it was hosted in Vancouver. But I'm not surprised by that, where you have a program that's dominated by US and Canada. I'm not surprised by that. No, not surprised at all. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's interesting, you know, how this roster, I mean, on paper, it doesn't look like a bad roster. It's just the problem is, we've seen what this roster can do in rugby since it's not worked. We saw what they did in Prague last year, and it didn't work. Now, well, actually, no, I think with Prague, I think the Canadians are tired as because they thrashed the other teams in the knockout stages. They did 9, I think like 9-1, 7-1, something like that. Yeah, it was not pretty. I remember me and Lady going into the Goldman match thinking, because obviously we just knew Canada had throttled their quarterfinal list and semi-final list. We only just managed to pull it off over Czechia so far, because Czechia had us on the ropes. They did. For the majority of that game, Czechia actually had us on the ropes there. In that semi. Yep. So we were not really, and yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's a good roster. I mean, you've got the legends on there. You've got Natalie Spooner. You've got Captain Clutch. You've got Desbiens. Yeah. And you've got Mashmeyer, who we kind of expected were going to be the 2 net miners going into. Oh yeah, I don't think there was ever any doubt it was going to be Desbiens and Mashmeyer. So I think Osborne's going to fight for us to get any ice time at all. She's going to be that fair. I would be very surprised if Osborne does get a start, because I think she probably is going to be seen as the 3rd net miner. Yeah. So she needs a rest. She really does. I don't like what they're trying to do with their net miner right now. I really don't. And yet somehow it's got them in a playoff spot at the time of recording. That's bad. Yeah, that's bad. That's great. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. It's crazy talk. Yeah. So we're not surprised. It's interesting with both US and Canada how we kind of already knew what their goaltending was going to be. That's just based on the last few international tournaments that we've been involved with. Yeah. So we just kind of knew. Yeah. And interesting how on this roster you've got a lot of last year's award winners in there. Because you've got the 2025 Rookie of the Year in Sarah Fillier. You've got the 2025 Defender of the Year in Renata Fast. You've got the 2025 MVP, Captain Clutch. And you've got the 2025 Goaltender of the Year, Ara Desbiens. Plus, one of Troy Ryan's assistant coaches is Corey Chevrolet, who was the 2025 recipient of the Coach of the Year. Yeah. Oh yeah. She earned that. I think that was the award where all 3 of us said it has to be Corey's. I mean, yes, Carla, you did very well to get your team in the playoffs, but it has to be Corey. What was Troy Ryan doing nominated again in that category last year? God knows. Yeah. It was like, whoop de la, no way you're giving it to him again. No way, no chance. Yeah. So there's a lot of talented players on that roster, and we're not saying it's not a talented roster. It's just it's too experienced. And while yes, you want to have that veteran experience on your roster, you need to balance it with a good young core, and that's what Canada's not got. No, has not got. No. There aren't that really many youngers on there on this roster that could help them. And I just feel like we're going to miss or see any potential Canadian prospects who could potentially enter the league. We're not really going to see them shine because Canada's gone, right, it's all PHL. And I can't believe we're saying that's not a good thing! I know, bang the walls on the heart, lady, you want it. I know, we are put in a complete... What have you done to us, Gia Kingbag? What have you done to us? What have you done to us? Because we should be praising this. Like, yes, we're going to show off the pro women's league in full. We've got one roster of all PHL players. Yes, we should be going hallelujah, woohoo! Look how times have changed. And yet instead we're being like, well, actually, hang on. Well, you could have done maybe one or two that are maybe in the NCAA, maybe, or at college levels. You know, I mean. You had 23 slots to fill. Wouldn't it have had like one or two? You know? It's like, what are you doing to us? What are you doing to us? And I'm not surprised that it's dominated by the Scepters. Well, you called it. I said, what did I say? What did I say? I said this is going to be dominated by the Scepters. What did I say? You said it when you were recording Czechia though in the week because you were very pleased with Czechia. What did I say? Yeah, you called it. Yeah, you called it. I knew you were. I knew you were gonna call it. I knew you were gonna call it. Yeah, I knew you were. Yeah. So, two American teams are represented on this roster. You got Seattle and New York. The new big rivalry. You are gonna get us into trouble with that. Well, can you blame me? The way those first team matches have gone. So. Madison Square Garden is in for a real treat. It is in for a real treat. So, yeah. Right. So, I think for this roster, it's interesting. Because I think on the one hand, it's a very talented roster. They should be able to do well. I remember Canada are going into this as the defending gold medalists, okay? But, it's going to be a little bit harder. Because the Americans are entering this as the reigning gold world medalists. Yeah. So it's an equal footing this time around. It's a very equal footing this time around. Yeah. But I can't shake the feeling that this roster feels like massive underdogs. Yeah. Because, and I think we have to. And this is a question I don't want to do now. I think it's something we need to do in 2027. Yeah. After both the Olympics and the World Championships. I mean, it's something we could potentially delve into after the Olympics, but that's only one tournament. Yeah. I think after Denmark, that's what will become a good picture. So, I'm going to throw a question out here now, and then maybe at some point in 2027, or maybe 2028, we will come back to this. And that is Canada's dominance starting to fade? Whoa, yeah. The $1 million question. The Canadian dollar Canadian dollar. Yes, I'm wearing a Canadian jersey. The Canadian $1 million question. Yeah. Well, if Canada gets to the gold medal match, then the answer would be no. We don't need to worry about that. But if Canada was to not reach the gold medal match, then you have to look at Denmark and think, right, what's gonna happen here? Especially how the format's different. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right, George. Maybe after 2027, that's when you start asking the question: is Canada's reign sort of coming to an end? Yeah. Because Canada have been so dominant in the women's game for decades. Yeah. It's very. I mean, look at the World Championships. In 2019, that's when their streak was their silver medal streak got broken. Yeah. Yeah, because before that, Canada always got gold or silver. And then along came Finland in 2019. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be so interesting. This tournament is going to be it's going to be so interesting for anybody who supports Canada, because you're going to look at this and think, right, this could be make or break. And if it goes right, yeah. So I kind of feel like I want to put that question out now, and then we can think about that. We get to Milan Cortina, and then again we go to Denmark. I'm struggling to pronounce the names of the cities for Denmark. And there you are. Well, you probably ever heard of Copenhagen and the Little Mermaid. So yeah. I will try and get them there after Milan Cortina. I'm currently right now in Milano mode, and then once we've had that, then I'll try and get them memorised. Guys, probably me, you got some videos to do about that. Yes, we did. Yep, in the run up to that. Yes, we did. Okay. And I should let you guys know I'm actually joining this year. He is. We do it. Yeah, I'm joining you guys. Although I'm just gonna basically just sit there and let YouTube roll it. Yes, but he is good. Yes, but he is going to be with us for the Worlds going forward. Yeah. It's just, you said you will sit there with us, and you'll just let me let you do the bulk of it. Yeah. We will carry the heavy load as per usual. Yep, yes, but he is joining us for Denmark in November. I believe that's the 6th of November, lady? Yes. I think it's the 6th to the 16th of November 2026. But we need to double check that. Oh no, are we in, where, we're at Legally Blonde, aren't we? No, I think we're dead the night before. Are we? Yep. I've got Makada. Yep, I've got it here. Nope, it's before that. We're at Nashville during the Winter Olympics, because we got that concert on the 7th of February, so that's during the games, but I think Legally Blonde is before the Worlds. No, hold on. Yep. We're seeing Legally Blonde on Bonfire Night. Ooh, yeah. No. So that's before Worlds. Is it at Palace? No, it's Opera House. I know, we don't like Opera House. No. 6 this week coming up is at the Palace. It's our first time seeing 6 in the Palace. And after that, we would have seen 6 in every single theatre in the UK. So in Manchester. Sorry, not the UK. In Manchester. Because it's toured the Lowry plenty of times. We saw it Lowry twice. It that was the first time we went to see 6 was at the Lowry. That was in 2022. That was in the summer. That was during the Commonwealth Games. Was towards the tail of the Commonwealth Games. And then 2023, we saw it at the Opera House, and had to sit in front of some annoying, irritating, disrespectful theatre goers. Some people just don't understand theatre etiquette, boys and girls. And then 2024, I think it was, I can't remember. I think 2024 was Lowry. Was it? Yeah. Because you record. Because in 2024 you had to go at recording the Mega 6, and it was at the Lowry. I remember now. Was that Lowry? Yeah. So 2024, 2025 it's been at the Lowry. Yeah. And then 2026 this year it's at the Palace Theatre, and then later this summer it's going to be at the Lowry. I'm not sure if we're going to go to the Lowry because it always sells out quite quick at the Lowry. But yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But 6 next week is at Palace Theatre, and after that, I will have seen 6 in every single theatre in Manchester. It is one of those shows where you can just easily put on anywhere, because it's only an 80-minute show, so you can easily put it on anywhere. And we also saw the Pro Shot last year. We did, yes, Pro Shot. Pro Shot was in UK cinemas over Easter last year, and then towards the summer bank holiday, they did a second go of it, and yeah, so I got to see that twice. Why has that not been put on DVD? I don't know. Yeah. Anyone got any more thoughts to say about Canada? I think it's going to be really exciting to watch now. If they were in Group B, then I think Canada would really, really, really struggle. But because they're in Group A, they have at least a chance to potentially put themselves in a good steed going into the knockouts. But oh, this is going to be so exciting. Could you imagine the furore that would unfold? Oh yeah, if the likes of Captain Clutch and Amine Despian and Fillier and Sarah Fillier, if they had to play for bronze, could you imagine the furore that would ensue? Yep, I can, but at the same time, I will be there ready to go. Told you so. Yep, told you so. 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 Because we've been saying on the show now for months now that possibly one day one of these two powerhouses could get rattled. And maybe it's going to be Canada. I mean, it was the USA in Torino. Maybe it's Canada's turn in Milano. You never know. But, oh my god. Yeah, you're bracing yourselves now, aren't you? Yeah. Well, of course, it all depends on who Canada gets in the semi-finals. Okay, so let's do it like that. But I will put my final thoughts. It's a very interesting roster. I feel like you, George, and I'd like to maybe see some NCAA players in there, just so I can have a look at who I could be seeing from Canada enter the league. Yeah, maybe say next season or the one after that. And I think I'll let you do it because I think you'll do it better than me. But I just don't like it. I just don't really agree with this roster being so deeply full of veterans because you need that balance. Yeah. As what they were trying to refer to, how I was going to phrase it, this decision to not field anybody from NCAA, it could bite them in the ass. Did you just say American? I think I just did! Oh my god! I've always struggled to pronounce the American way. But I think that decision not to go with any NCAA players, it could bite them in the ass. It really could. Because that's where you get your youth from. The NCAA, other college year programs, unis, that's where you can get your youth from. And you need a bit of that youth to give them the experience, what it's like playing on the world stage. Yeah. And then also, just give you that sort of backup, because you need a mix of youth and veterans. And Canada's not got any of that. And I think this is where they're going to really, really, really struggle. So, this has just got very, very interesting. With about, 3 weeks to go, this has now just become very, very interesting, boys and girls. And maybe what we're saying about could happen in 2030 actually might happen sooner than we all thought. Brace, brace, brace is what I want to say to Canadians right now. Brace.